सुबह उठ के फर्स्ट यूरिन पीना अपना, कोई तकलीफ नहीं रहेगी, कभी कुछ नहीं होगा, फर्स्ट यूरिन पीना।
What is your take on Shivambu chickens? Is self-urine therapy something that we should try at all?
So when such a thing is advocated to be consumed unrestricted, telling that it is totally harmless, it cannot be Ayurveda.
Hi guys, it's Dr. AskDrBhat here. I'm a nephrologist in Bangalore. Today, I'm really excited because this is the first podcast I'm doing ever, and we've got a very esteemed guest with us today. I would like to introduce Dr. Kishan Kumar, who is a Ayurvedic practitioner. He's done masters in Shalya, and he's been practicing Ayurveda for more than a decade now. What made me invite Dr. Kishan today was a video that I saw, a reel that I saw recently about urine therapy, Shivambu chickens. Let's see the video.
अब तक तो आप लोग ने ये वीडियो देख ही लिया होगा।
सुबह उठ के फर्स्ट यूरिन पीना अपना, कोई तकलीफ नहीं रहेगी, कभी कुछ नहीं होगा, फर्स्ट यूरिन पीना।
मजाक उड़ाना एक बात है, लेकिन आपको बता दूं कि ये हमारे पूर्वजों से आ रहा है, ये कोई नई थेरेपी नहीं है। एंड इट इज एन एक्सीलेंट वे ऑफ सेल्फ हीलिंग। यस, यूरिन थेरेपी, शिवम्भू चिकित्सा। सुबह का यूरिन कलेक्ट करके उसका सेवन करना है, यानी कि यू हैव टू ड्रिंक इट। You can also apply it. You can wash your eyes with it. You can do urine patti. What does it do? Well, it helps to absolutely eradicate skin disorders, skin allergies, arthritis. It helps with cancer patients. It also helps to boost your immune system. The most beautiful part is it is the best self-healing technique or the self-healing therapy that we have today. So rather than running away from it, embrace it, do it and then see the result. सवाल है तो पूछिए, आप करके देखिए, तब जानिए कि इसका मैजिक क्या है. And I'm right here to help you if you need to understand urine therapy better.
So there we go. When I saw this video, I was taken aback because it's not something that I felt was very scientific. But then I've had this interest in exploring what Ayurveda has to offer to us so that we all stay healthy. We should never reject anything without proper introspection. So, for that reason, I started chatting up with Dr. Kishan and I got this idea that why don't we do it live so that many of you can benefit. Welcome, Dr. Kishan.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell something about yourself before we go?
Hello everyone, myself Dr. Kishan. I am an Ayurvedic doctor. I did my BMS from Sri Sri College of Ayurveda and then again finished my masters there, master in Shalya Tantra. It's a branch of Ayurveda which deals in surgical aspect in Ayurveda. So there we get exposed to the main surgical and parasurgical procedures that are mentioned in the classical text. And certain also along with that we get exposure to modern surgeries as part of the curriculum. So because of this curriculum we are able to explore and be familiar both with the ancient techniques and ancient philosophies and also with the modern ideas and the modern methods. So we try to look everything at a very honest way and in a very scientific way to benefit for the benefit of everybody.
So who better than Dr. Kishan to help us navigate through this difficult question as to how to, is self-urine therapy something that we should try at all or not? My concern was that urine is a waste product of our body. It contains lots of toxins, high amount of salt and bacteria as well. Consuming it can be quite dangerous. It can lead to gastrointestinal infections. It can lead to dehydration, and especially since I'm a nephrologist, it puts a huge stress on the kidney. So my first question to Dr. Kishan is, what is your take on Shivambu Chikitsa?
So before going into Shivambu Chikitsa, You had shared me the reel which I saw. I just wanted to brief what is Ayurveda. The word Ayurveda means. So Veda or Vid means something which you know in totality. You know the pros of it, you know the cons of it, and there is nothing left that you don't know about it. So when in any, not even Shivambu, anything that is subjected that this is healthy, we as an Ayurvedic person find it very difficult to accept that. Because if you tell something is healthy, how it is healthy, and in how, what quantity it is not healthy. For example, food, we say matra. You eat a little bit of more food, it causes something called ama. And when this ama goes into the body, it causes certain range of metabolic diseases. So how can a food be so dangerous? Whereas something which is urine, which is also considered as a mala, as a waste product. So if the mala doesn't go out of the body, it even has impact up to the psychological disorders. So when such a thing is advocated to be consumed unrestricted and telling that it is totally harmless, it cannot be Ayurveda.
Cannot, yeah. Now, with regards to Ayurveda, which are the main texts, the ones that you go to for any reference?
Yes. So when something, there is something called Aptopadesha Pramana. So who is Apta? Apta is something which he has spoken, the word is final. Why? Because you can apply that knowledge in the past, in the present and in the future. So for example, the knowledge of food. There are three aptas, Acharya Shushrutas, Shushruta Samhita, Charakacharyas, Charaka Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridaya written by Vagbhatacharya, which he has tried to give some important views of his, at the same time amalgamated both these two. So one, Shushruta Acharya is a surgical school of thought, Acharya Charaka is a medical school of thought, and the Vagbhata kind of combines both of them. So what Acharya Sushruta has especially mentioned about urine in a chapter called Dravadravya Vijnani Adhyaya. So he explains all the good properties and bad properties of all the liquids that are consumed by the humans, starting from soups, starting from water from different regions, and then alcohol, and then buttermilk, and in the end he has mentioned the urine of 8 animals. Surprisingly, all of them are having one common property, that they are kshariya, that they are corrosive, and they kind of help in detoxification of the malas. But they are very weak.
Any of those 8 animals are humans?
No,
Non-human.
they are not human. So what he has mentioned, but along with that, some animals have some additional properties in their urine. So for example, the urine of a donkey is jarapa. That means it slows down your aging, and is also cheto vikarak. That means the disorders of a psyche. It has something which can be beneficial to that. And the mutra of Ushtra, it is highly corrosive, but it is very helpful in
Ushtra is?
camel.
Camel.
So it is helpful in highly aggressive form of mental disorders, which we call as Mada, but also it is very kshariya. And in the end, when the whole chapter is ending, he has just mentioned 2 words, Manusham tu Vishapaham. He has not said I will mention this, but he has just ended in the last 2 words, Manusham tu Vishapaham, and the chapter ends there. So whenever there is...
So what does Manusham tu Vishapaham mean?
So that means, if we take the context, he has been telling in the context of urine of animals, and just mentioned this as an extra. So that means human urine is an antitoxic substance. So then comes, if something which is antitoxic, it cannot be something which you use on a daily routine. But sometimes, for example, the anti-snake venom. nobody takes simply anti-snake venom. It is monitored judiciously and given. And especially there are three categories. There are animal poisons, there are plant poisons, and there are artificial poisons called Garavishas. So specifically it is for a certain kind of poison called Garavishas, especially the artificial kind of poison. So the concept on Ayurveda regarding poisons is the method of competitive elimination. Suppose you are in the threat of being affected by the animal poison, an animal has bitten you which is poisonous. The treatment for that will be the plant poison, which is processed and reduced, its harmfulness is reduced, and then it is administered in the body before the effect takes in. After the effect takes in, it is of no use. Before the animal poison is fully affecting your body, if you are used to the plant poison, it will prevent the animal poison from spreading. So in that context, if we see, it is an antitoxic substance. So you have to use it very judiciously and very specifically. So and also there will be side effects of it. So if you ask me what will be the side effects of urine is said to be beneficial, which comes out of our body daily. Urine belongs to a category of kshara, which our acharyas have mentioned. There are three things in this universe which are beneficial but should not be used too much. So one of them is kshara, one of them is lavana, and one of them is called pippari. It is piper longer.
Lavana is salt.
Lavana is salt. So he said when you use salt too much, your dhamanis or the siras become very hard. So the flexibility of the body is lost. It becomes very fibrous and becomes very hard. So and in case of kshara, kshara is a very wonderful medicine, but it has to be judiciously used. It kind of decimates and erodes the particular affected organ when we put, and it makes it allows it to grow when the thing. Kshara is something which is specially used for shodhana purpose. Suppose on a wound there is too much of slough, you have to remove the slough very judiciously, but still there will be microscopic amount of slough which will not be going, but at the same time will be inhibiting the growth of the healthy tissues. So once the slough is removed, the thing grows up. So we have tried in removing the slough with a distillate of cow urine, but once the slough is removed, we stop. We don't use it, because if we use too much, then it can induce fibrosis of the growing granulation tissue, where the healing will again be impaired. So kshara is a very tikshna amsha. What are the side effects when we consume it too much? First is infertility. Second is even vision losses can happen. And even your bodily tissue metabolism, the growth, they all can be stunted. Which is also akin to certain places where the water itself is very alkaline, or there are too much of minerals in the place, like Vindhya mountains. They tend to have more prone to be having kidney diseases, and it is also contraindicated to be used in small children, in pregnant women, and people with kidney diseases. So there is a lot of judicious thinking that goes when you use something which is having kshara especially.
So there, one thing you mentioned, distillate of cow's urine.
Yes.
So what is this distillate? So you're not supposed to use cow urine raw, but for treatment purpose.
So in classics they have not mentioned that you use distillate, but as a part of with the evolving understanding of microbiology and the dangers of the infection, the attempt was to distillate the cow urine and try and see if there is any benefit of it. So one of my friend, Dr. Manish, he did a study on the non-healing ulcers, which were very slugged and also had a infection. There was positive culture growth, plus there was non-healing ulcers. So he did, and before that he did a study of the distillate. So what he analyzed for all the compounds that were present, So apart from this usual urine component, there were alkaloids in the spectrometry, but no other chemicals could be found. So, but on the he did a test
In the cow urine.
in the
As
cow urine.
compared to
Yes.
the human urine.
Human urine.
The cow urine had alkaloids, which the human urine did not.
Did not have. So why we use cow urine? So in Sushruta Samhita it says, whenever you have to use urine as a therapy for internally and for basti, you have to use cow urine. This is the general dictum when for medication process. Now that goes back beyond to one of a saying, like cow is considered as a mother. So if you are in a family, if the cow sees you are sick, it goes and eats certain kind of plants, and so that the milk of it will have certain properties and that will heal you. This was said to be a very biased, very senior person. He is not no Acharya Ratnananda. Said why cow is considered as a mother. So it comes to you, it smells you, and it goes out and eats certain herbs, which will help you to heal. So even in Ayurveda, if for example you want to rejuvenate your body, you give cow masha, urad dal, highly proteinous dal, certain herbs to give it and consume the urine. That is one of the best way to rejuvenate yourself. It is called a sign. So, but the controversy is like human urine has not been directly mentioned apart from this reference. In the classics, it has not been mentioned.
When you distillate urine, all the good, how do you know that the microbiological part is taken, is got rid of, and then the good aspects of the cow's urine is preserved? How can you?
So in Sri Sri, what they do, each batch after they distill, the cow urine they go send for microbiology study, and then only they certify the batch to be used for.
So the currently available urine, which is used in Ayurvedic therapy,
Yes.
they're all distilled.
Yes, distilled cow urine.
Not just at your hospital, across
Across all the Ayurvedic community now, nobody means I have not seen, whatever I have seen in all these standard medical colleges, they use the distillate, which is filtered and very sterile, and that is used predominantly.
Does any Ayurvedic practitioner, senior or junior that you know of, recommends Shivambu Chikitsa?
As of I know, when the last discussion happened with one of the very senior teacher of mine, she said urine is a mala. Urine is something the body wants to discard. So it can never support the body. It cannot be used. But because it is said Vishapahan, there are there is a different branch of toxicology which has clearly explained for each kind of Visha. There are so many other preparations. So this has never been used. Never, I have not seen it.
That's very interesting. When I was doing some research for this podcast, what I found is in the Western literature, one of the first publications which came out was in 1945 from John W. Armstrong.
Yes.
He wrote it is called The Water of Life. It is on urine therapy. That is the first reference I got. And when it comes to Ayurveda and practitioners of Ayurveda, are there any such texts written by other practitioners which promotes the self-urine therapy?
So there is one book called Arogyaka Amolya Sadhan, written by very gentleman Raji Bhav Manibhav Patel in the year 1961, and it had a foreword by Moraji Desai. So he was a
Very famously.
He was very famously getting the benefit of that. He was a very being the beneficiary of that.
One of the things that when we were discussing about this informally before, you mentioned that it has to be people with some amount of strict practices, yogic practices,
Yes,
only
yes.
can tolerate this self-urine therapy, Shivambu Chikitsa. It cannot be done by everybody and everybody.
Exactly. So in the foreword of this book, in the editory, he says the source of this Shivambu Chikitsa is from the yogic practices. So yogis, they have a principle of trying to minimize their dependence on nature. As much as they cut their dependence on nature, that much they consider it as an achievement. So for them, they do sadhana. They don't eat rice at all. They don't eat starch. They have a certain very strict lifestyle. They used to the millets was mostly consumed by the yogis. They were called kodravas, and they have a very strict lifestyle, and their goal in life is to be free from everything. So in that context, they try to achieve it through intense sadhana. They don't simply consume it, and even there's a strict mental control. There is a strict dietary control. There is no food at all. The yogis, when they consume urine, they do not take the food at all. So the entire metabolism, it is involved totally in processing the urine and no other thing. So that effect, if you compare to a daily life person who consumes urine in the morning, then has breakfast, then works, and then is involved in all the emotional upheaval, so it is not mentioned for him. It is certainly not for him.
And is there anything else that particular text?
So Rajibhau Manibhau Patel, he also mentioned Mr. Armstrong's references, even Europe's, what are the books, European practices of that time. So he had the first published the book in 1961. So where he was quite anguished by the medical facilities and by the suffering of the people. So and by following this therapy with many large number of people, he has documented few cases, quite a few number of cases, and he has made a request like, this is what I am presenting. Please kindly don't reject it thinking that what urine can be. So everything, unless scientifically reviewed and rejected, and everything scientifically reviewed cannot be concluded. So he in a very compassionate and in a passionate way, he said there could be something good for the humanity which he observed, and he was quite happy with it. And he has appealed to the scientific community in his forward, the initial pages of his book, to look it from a scientific way and take it up whatever necessary.
In one of the videos that I saw, there was mentioned that urine has got very high quantity of vitamins. It's full of vitamins, proteins, immunoglobulins, hormones, etc., etc., and that is why it is very beneficial. I would like to say that even STP water, the sewage treatment plant water, has got a lot of all these things and much more in concentration than the urine, but we don't consume. So we have to be careful. You can just not generalize and then try to apply it without proper scientific thought process. So what I'll just try to summarize what I got from your beautiful explanations. Is the classical texts, do not mention anything about self-urine. There's a lot of information about animal urine, especially cow's urine. And as time has evolved, Ayurvedic practitioners have started distilling the cow's urine and using it for medicinal purposes, and mostly for application on wounds, etc. And are there any consumption?
Consumption also is done. They are consumed also, and there have been few cases where people got benefit, but the success rate has not been documented. There have been only case studies which has been documented, but over the percentage of efficacy and in whom it is not effective, that has not been done.
So we were talking about case studies and anecdotal reports. They're probably the least scientific way of, progressing science. I have people who I've treated, they come with creatinine of 10 and I treat them and their kidney function recovers, and they keep sending patients to me with creatinine of 10 expecting that their kidney function will recover. So no two patients with creatinine of 10 Or I tell many patients, the same patient when they come again with high creatinine, the reason for high creatinine might be different, and I might not be able to help them out in that situation. So case reports and anecdotal reports mean nothing for science. It has to be a very scientific, large, randomized, double-blind control studies that we have to do to prove that in a particular therapy or a drug or something is beneficial for us, and also be able to quantify the side effect profile of that particular drug or treatment.
Exactly, right, exactly. So,
and the second one that I took from your explanation is, Shivagu Chikitsa cannot be practiced by everybody. People with a lot of sadhana, are the ones who probably can get away, and it is not for everybody, the common man. One more thing I would like to add is, self-urine therapy has been followed by many civilizations, not just the Indian civilization, the Egyptian, the American, the African, many African tribals. Even now they practice self-urine therapy apparently. It has been practiced world over for time immemorial. But then you have to look at the time. That was time when they didn't have the benefits of the understanding of human body and the medicines that we have now, and they had to make do with whatever was available in nature, including the urine. And it is good that even in Ayurveda, you've started distilling the urine of the cow and using it for medicinal purposes. Ayurveda is also evolving. So the bottom line for me is that it is not something which is even practiced, not mentioned in the classical text, and not even practiced by the traditional Ayurvedic practitioners. So you have to be really, really careful when you want to just follow advice from people who may have had some benefit by consuming it for a short period of time, and definitely it is not something for a long-term use. Any last thing that you want to mention at all?
So there is one, to summarize the entire philosophy of Ayurveda. So there is something called, the shloka goes by, Hidahitam Sukham Dukham Manancha Datra Hidahitam. Whether something is beneficial to us or not, how much of it is beneficial, how much of it is not beneficial. When you understand it in the totality, then it is considered as Ayurveda.
On that note, let's thank Dr. Kishan for spending his time and explaining what the classical Ayurvedic texts and the practitioners believe with regards to self-urine therapy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.